And hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon, and I am so happy you could be here today. With all the big games going on, I've been kind of distracted. I'm glad I got everything done early because this is when I get really interested, right? Is near the playoffs and all of that. But I did predict who would win the AFC championship, and that's Kansas City. Took it by 7. You can go back and look at my community page where I predicted this morning before the show, before the game of that. So I'm not lying. I hit that one. And so right now we've got the 49ers and the Lions playing, and I hope if I get distracted too much, I will turn it off. I swear. I'll give you guys updates because I know you're all here and some of you are interested. I don't know. But I predict the 49ers are going to take it by 7 on this one. So we shall see. Anyhow, let's get on with the show, shall we? And let me bring on my guest. Daniel Benoit from the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. How are you?
I am doing great. Awesome little intro, by the way.
I tried to make a little something special for everybody who comes on, but it's been a while. I haven't had you on in a while. And
yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Daniel and I have done podcasts together for a really long time. We kind of started out doing podcasts back, I don't know, 7 years ago, maybe 8. Has it been
at least somewhere around there? Yeah,
a long time?
For those who, I don't know if anyone really knows Shane Bradbury, but yeah, yeah, looking for Bigfoot News Hour and all that, and yeah.
Yeah, we used to all get together to do the Bigfoot Hour, and then we used to get together to do Finding Bigfoot After Show. And what he also had a political thing that I used to help with him.
Yeah, that came a little later, but he did Real or Not Real.
Oh yeah, Real or Not Real. That was the best one. I thought that one was a good one where we would look at videos and pics and we would each give our opinion about, well, do you think it's real or not real? So
yeah,
but those were the good old fun days. I don't remember quite so much drama back there, but there's always going to be drama in the field, but
oh yeah,
it was fun. It was definitely fun. So congratulations are in order for you, right?
Yeah, I'm engaged.
Yep.
That's happening here in the next few months. So,
so congratulations to you. Happy for the two of you, and seeing all kinds of you posting. Let me get this right. I want to do this. There we go. And you and Julie are doing little things together out there in the woods, and it's so cute.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun, and I got to tell you something. There's things that are happening up here, things that I'm seeing that I can't explain. Stuff I never would imagine. Things that where I've heard other people talk about that I would easily dismiss or blow off. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not that extreme. Maybe it's not that bizarre. I don't know. It just is something I've never seen before. I've only heard stories about it. I mean, I'm seeing things that like I cannot debunk. I'm having serious issues trying to debunk these. Seeing these weird flashing lights in the woods. I don't know what to think.
Wow. So
seriously,
more to the paranormal side of stuff there then.
Yeah, I mean the way Julie puts it, Julie believes that there's it's a form or type of energy that's being produced out there by the Bigfoot, so I'm keeping an open mind, but I'm trying to debunk it. Because there was one light out there that we saw that I was able to debunk, which was way off in the distance, which come to find out it was none other than a red light that was on a communication tower. But these other lights are totally different. Yeah, these
Uh-huh.
other lights are totally different. They appear in one general area at a time, and they seem to be flashing. They kind of go up and down. Sometimes you'll see them more to the left, back to the right,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. I really don't know what to think of them. So
Well, just
I
keep
don't
up the
know.
investigation, right? And until you can discover for yourself. That's what I've always said. I know a lot of people have said that who just believe they're nothing but flesh and blood, but leave kind of a little bit of an open mind up there. If something happens to you, then that makes
Hmm.
you, a believer or more open to other things happening. But because I know you are totally flesh and blood, and these things are jumping in and out of portals and stuff like that. But right, it's got to happen to
Yeah,
you before you
I
start
mean,
believing it stuff.
like I told Julia, I said, I'm not afraid to admit what I'm seeing, but I just don't know where to jump on board with it quite yet because it's
Yeah,
just, somebody can
God.
tell me what I'm seeing, but I have to find a way to believe that for myself, so,
Yeah.
but,
Well, just keep up the investigation. I think you're doing a good job. You got so much stuff going on. I always see you with
yeah,
outings, and you're at festivals and Squatch fests and all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure you're already deep in planning for your conference this coming July. And
June, yeah, May.
or,
Well, two of them. I have my one that's in June, but yeah, me and Julia we're hosting one here in Pennsylvania a
oh,
month
oh,
before the June event. So yeah,
oh, okay.
which is which is actually getting a huge response. We have already 41 vendors signed up so far. So
Wow.
yeah, it's we got some live music entertainment. We got a magic show. Our magician is going to be there doing all kinds of cool stuff. We have a beer vendor. We have a wine vendor.
Oh,
Four other
nice.
food trucks. So yeah, we got a good lineup, good setup so far. I mean, some good squatchy encrypted themed vendors. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's looking real
Oh,
good for
excellent.
our first time event up here. So, and then meanwhile, yeah, I'm working with my community team. We got our speakers set up for Virginia. Our
Yeah.
indoor space is filled up already for vendors. We're working on the outside now. So yeah, everything's going pretty well. So yeah,
Hmm. That's good. It's good to hear. I'm glad.
yeah.
You've come a long way, baby,
Oh
from,
yeah,
back days.
still nerve
So
wracking though. It's a lot of work.
it is.
Yep.
I know how stressed out you were about your second conference. Um,
Mm.
and now you have all this other stuff on top of that, but just keep it up and keep going, and it'll work itself out, hopefully.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
maybe I can get back out there someday. I got so many things on my plate right now that I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to go over there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
But
apart from the conferences and events, festivals, I mean, yeah, we got camping outings. We organize and plan to bring others out there with us.
yeah.
I've been doing my one in Virginia. That's been very successful. We surprisingly we get people. We had this one girl that comes all the way from Colorado. She's been there twice with us. So yeah,
Wow.
she jumps in
That's
her Jeep
nice.
and drives. Yeah. Yeah, we get other. The others are usually local. We had a couple come up from I think they're North Carolina. So yeah, it all
Mm-hmm.
varies. But now I got the Virginia group coming up to Pennsylvania for the camp out up here. We're doing so.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
that's good. That's
Hmm.
good. I wish you guys lived closer. And then if
Oh,
I lived over there, I'd want to live to the other side. I'm kind of like, I don't live near anybody to go out with all the time. So um, it is what it is. I will get where
right.
I can. Where's that tax refund? I already have it allotted for all these different things I want to do. But
Oh, trust me. Yeah, but tax refund money or whatever else funds you come in. That's another thing with I've been working little by little, growing my research gear, the inventory.
mhm.
Like I haven't even taken it completely out of the package; it's still wrapped up. But I got the Kreider parabolic
Oh,
dish. Yeah, it's still,
yeah.
as you see, it's still in plastic. So I have to
Yeah,
go
I
through
saw
everything
that and I was like, dang, he just giving those things away. Where do I sign up?
and
That's huge.
yeah,
I didn't think it was going to be that big, though. That's pretty big.
If you check out the reviews and the details on these things, you could have this. This is something I've been looking for a very long time. For what it does, it picks up audio for over, I don't want to say a mile, but close to probably. Well, I don't know how many feet are in a mile. I mean, this it's supposed to have over 2,500. It's been known to pick up audio for over 2,500 feet. So,
wow. Well,
so that's better than the other little parabolic I got, which is made for 300 feet. But which that's been worked out pretty good. So it's whatever. Yeah.
300 feet might be too close. By the time you hear something, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad everything's going great with you. And tonight I decided to hit the topic of misidentification and feral humans and other things, that could possibly be what people are seeing out there in the forest. But this topic of feral humans, a lot of people have covered it, and I don't know if they've covered it, some of the early history of feral humans. And I wanted to do that. I've got like 6 selections of some really super early feral type situations, and then a couple of newer ones. And I thought we would just go and talk about these because, it could be you hear about people out there not knowing why I thought I saw a man out there. I don't know, if it was human or Sasquatch or a bear, or they just don't know, right? And a lot of it plays up to their anxiety or their fear, that could spur that on. But anyway, I thought we would go through and just discuss some of these earlier ones. And if any of you in the chat have any questions, make sure you put those in caps, the questions in caps, please. That way I can see you, okay? Because I'm not really paying a whole lot over there. I see you guys. You're chatting so fast. There's no way it would take me forever. It's great. It's great. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep talking. Right, you're right, Desert Rat. She first right off said that they're not over 7 feet tall, well muscled and covered in hair. So you're right, they're more on the smaller size. But they don't start out at 7 feet, do they?
Right.
Exactly. They're still infants and toddlers and teen or adolescents, juveniles, Sasquatch. They don't just pop out at 7 feet. So there's this whole area that we have to work with in in that area. So let me see. So we have the first one on my list here is John of Liege. He's one of the earliest English language accounts of a feral child concerns of John of Liege, a boy who supposedly spent most of his youth in isolation in the Belgian wilderness. According to 1600 accounts and Sir Digby, John first fled to the woods at the age of 5 to escape enemy soldiers during a religious war. So he survived by eating berries, and he was too terrified to ever go home, so it drove him away. And he survived, forget this, 16 years on his own in the woods. He finally returned to society around 21 years old, and because he was caught stealing food from a nearby farmer. He was naked, he had overgrown hair all over his body, and he had forgotten the use of language. So that's another side to this, is that the longer or the younger the person in the woods will lose language from that isolation. And we have many accounts of that are going to be coming up. But after, let's see, his years in the brush had led him to develop a dog-like sense of smell, allowing him
wow.
to sniff out food and from great distances. And according to Digby, John eventually began talking again, but his heightened senses dulled once he was back into civilization. So, he was able to come back to society once he was rescued. You got a
It kind of
question
goes to
here.
show that it kind of goes to show that we kind of take for granted our senses that we have naturally, that we don't
Right.
normally use them, and then doing in his case, he had to rely on them. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, you
So
do. And you see that even for everyday people. My eyesight's kind of going, so my hearing is really good. My smell is very good. Your body compensates for the things that you're losing, is what I
right.
found. So if one of the kids are burning something, I'm like, well, who's burning what? What are you doing in my kitchen?
So you
So
hear the smoke alarm go off, you're okay.
yeah, for sure. So Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks, that's Jonathan. He says, Daniel, what will you be powering up your microphone in your parabolic? What will be
What?
powering up your mic? So is it battery operated or is it
Yes, I have to take the rest. He's got all the rest of it wrapped up in packages. The batteries amp for the audio device this year comes apart. It takes, if I'm not mistaken, it takes 3 AAA batteries. Um, and then, like I said, I have yet to really play around with this. According to
yeah.
Robert Carter, he told me the other day that it's actually ready to use. It's ready to start using, but he says if I have any questions, I just need to contact him. He puts together. He's got a whole booklet right here, a small little thin booklet of instructions and guidance. But yeah, this is all new to me, so I have yet to really go through it and look it over
Yeah.
real well. This is actually today was the first time I opened it since I got it.
Right.
So yeah, I'll figure it out
Is it
soon.
on its own stand?
No, it's got the handheld as you see, but
Oh,
I have 2
yeah.
tripods. That's another thing I got. I got a brand new tripod, which I'll be using for not just that, but I have my new my thermal imager. I got my new 4K night vision device, which I really wanted a good tripod for the night vision. Because some
Yeah.
of these night vision devices they're very strong, but you need to keep them steady as possible to keep a clear image.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah. You don't want
that's
to be
another
holding
thing.
all that. Be
Right.
like,
I mean, yeah,
it's
exactly.
hard enough when you just have your camera going in your hand and stuff. So, well, that's cool. Okay. Where are we at? So that was John of Liege. Next we have Peter the Wild Boy. So in the summer of 1725, a naked and mute adolescent boy was found living alone in the woods in northern Germany. The child was brought before British King George the First, who took a liking to him and had him shipped to the court. Christianed Peter, the boy, who soon became the toast of London, and he was regularly shown around at parties to entertain the royal families and guests. Nobles were fascinated by the wild boy's habit by scurrying around on all fours, and they laughed at his disregard for table manners and his uh, picking pockets. He liked to pick pockets
Hmm.
and trying to kiss the ladies of the court. So what you see there in the corner of that picture is the actual collar that they used to put around him and lead him around the court.
Wow.
So, and it's in a museum today. This is, it's kind of crazy.
Hmm.
It says that some researchers have since argued that he may have first been abandoned because he suffered from Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. It's a rare neurological disorder characterized by learning disabilities and inability to develop speech. So, which, we know that from history is that people who couldn't communicate or had any type of learning disabilities were automatically put into asylums or were taken away from the families and lost to society. So that
yeah, I
is,
guess not having the ability to speak, I guess that would consider him a mute then.
yeah, he would have
Yeah.
been a mute.
Which,
So
it's not common, but you do hear about that amongst today's society. You got some that are still like that or become like that or born like that,
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of autism or people on the spectrum, but we have bigger ability to help them, or make us make their living better. Hopefully they get into
Right.
help or some kind of aid that's out there. Not always, we know kids get lost in the system a lot, so that can be really sad.
And another thing too, I'm noticing like in school they're actually teaching kids at a younger age basic sign language now. So which is something you don't always have to sign up for. Not I don't know if every school program does that, but a lot of them actually are teaching sign language. I know my grandson, my oldest grandson, he speaks. He's doing pretty good, but he's just one of the ones that are coming along a little later than others. But when he goes to speech therapy, apart from playing around with words, they actually do teach him to better express himself, basic sign language. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Now his brother, on the other hand, is picking up words real good. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have to watch your kids, ask questions, make sure they're on the right developmental path. If they're a little bit slower than the norm, you just keep an eye on them and make sure that if you do see something that you tell somebody, don't keep it to yourself. There are people out there to help, even though, a lot of the news will say, there's nobody out there. There is, but you got to seek it. It won't come to you on your own. You got to go seek help for your children.
Right.
So, this whole feral human, there are so many documentaries, so many YouTube shows, and BBC has tons of documentaries. So there was a lot to sift through, and that's why I took this part, the early stuff, because you always hear about some of the olders. Oh my God, I just burned my tongue on my tea.
Oh.
Ow. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lions 14, San Francisco 7. So stuff's happening over there. I'm not gonna look. It's gonna distract me. I'm gonna have to turn it off. I lost my train. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. So Marie Angelique Mimi LeBlanc is the wild girl of Champagne, the maid of Chalons, the wild child of Songi. They have many names for the same thing. I was reading articles and I'm like, wait a minute, that's that one, and that's that one. And I was like, okay, I have to put all this to one, all the names. So her story is in 1731. The French village of Songi was stunned by sightings of a wild young woman armed with a wooden club. This savage girl of Champagne was clad in animal skins and a tattered dress, and appeared to be anywhere from 10 to 18 years old, depending on the source. She was also astonishingly strong for her size and had once even killed a local guard dog with a club. So she really took care of herself. When villagers finally lured the young woman out of the trees, they were amazed to discover that she spoke only in animalistic whoops and squeaks, as referred to eat raw meat, often skinning and biting into the carcass of a flesh kill on the spot.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, whooping?
I know that's what caught my attention.
No,
Whoop,
the
yeah,
earliest whoop. Could be the
yeah.
earliest whoop out there.
Makes you wonder
So yeah,
what is with the whoop that they developed to use that as a form of communicating, or what it
right. It's the
maybe.
only thing they're.
And we
I don't know.
associate whoops with Bigfoot, you know.
Yeah, we do. We do. Gary. Okay. Hold on, Gary. Earlier, Gary asked. Here we go. Mr. Benoit come across any paranormal in his journey with Bigfoot? If so, what? And he kind of just said he just found lights or stuff out while he's
Yeah, the
out there.
flashing lights in the woods that I cannot debunk that my fiance associates with Bigfoot, which I am. That has me intrigued. They're fascinating. I just can't figure them out exactly. But apart from the flashing lights, yeah, we get other activity, but that's the most I guess you could relate to if you want to put that in the paranormal spectrum. But
Yeah.
yeah. But other than that,
Okay.
no. Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. It also says further details about her background would not emerge until 1765, almost 30 years later, when she told an interviewer that she had escaped to the forest after being kidnapped and brought to Europe as an enslaved worker. Many of Mimi's contemporaries believe she was originally Inuit, but recent research suggests she was most likely of Meshwaki Indian born in what is now Wisconsin. Meshwaki. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm. Next, we have Victor of Aveyron. The mysterious story of Victor began in the 1800s when a boy around 12 years old was found wandering in the woods near Aveyron, France. The wild child was naked and mute, and an abundance of scars seemed to indicate that he had been exposed to the elements since a very young age. He refused to wash or be touched, ignored human contact, and often exploded into violent outbursts. Years of isolation has led him to develop a remarkable form of selective hearing. Wait a minute, my husband says I have selective hearing. The boy might ignore the sound of a pistol fire behind his head, but would perk up immediately at the crackling of a walnut. Okay. So French officials deemed the child an imbecile, but a consultant to a school for the deaf named Jean-Marc Gaspard believed that it was possible to teach him language. They worked with a boy whom they named Victor, and eventually they got him to bathe, wear clothes, and even show signs of empathy. Language, however, proved to be permanently beyond the boy's grasp, while they taught Victor to understand basic spoken questions and commands. The fondling died at the age of 40, having never uttered a complete sentence. So that
And
picture on
that's
the right is actually the guy, Marc Gaspard, who found him.
Oh, okay.
I believe. All right. Daniel, could it be that whooping is the most natural sound for a primate to project?
I would believe so. I mean, although primates in general, if we're speaking of non-human primates, I mean they have several different vocals and sounds that they produce for various forms of communication. But yeah, I know that there is non-human primates like chimpanzees. They are known for whooping. Yeah, it's a form of communication. I don't know if it would be the easiest one. A lot of them make a lot of grunts. They're known for grunting, and I'm not going to try to sound. There's other sounds I don't know what to call, but I know by listening to them, I know what I heard. So.
Well, we compare to the things we know. We know what sounds like. We know what most coyotes sound like, even though there's thousands of vocals a coyote can make. You know, the more you're in the woods, the more you would learn what's out there. I probably would be like not knowing because I don't spend that much time out there. Yes, Jay, you're seeing my background move. The meteor shower above my head over there.
I know. I'm steadily watching it myself, and that's so cool.
You can put videos on your background now. However,
Nice.
my background, it got froze. See, it's froze because you can't have it on your personal background, but you can have it on your main background. It's a whole
Oh.
thing to explain. All right, so that was Victor. That's Victor's story. Next, we have Caspar Hauser. In May of 1828, a teenage boy appeared in Nuremberg, Germany, with a seemingly unbelievable story identifying himself as Caspar Hauser. The youth said he had spent the previous 13 years confined to a small room. His only companions were a few wooden toys and a mysterious man that would appear each day to bring him food and water. He carried with him 2 cryptic notes, which claimed he had come into his captor's care as a child and had never been allowed to leave the house, but was now being released to pursue a military career. Now, I included this one for a story, a more recent story about a captive. But see, this is 1800s, and there's, crazy people. Oops.
Yeah, it basically sounds like he was enslaved to his own room.
Yeah. Hauser macabre tale quickly capitulated him to instant fame across Europe. Many marveled at how the fondling possessed remarkable night vision and often fell into a stupor when presented with new experiences. But others suspect his story might have been a hoax. The boy had learned language and writing way too easily. So they argued that his complexion was not pale enough for someone who had spent most of his life in darkness. The situation only grew more bizarre in 1833 when Hauser died from a mysterious, possibly self-inflicted stab wound. Dozens of wild theories have been since then proposed about his origins, including that he was actually a royal who was confined as part of a conspiracy to prevent him from taking the throne. Whoa. To this day, however, it is unclear whether Caspar Hauser was a real life wild child or merely a skilled con man. Whoa. Did we just discover the first hoax?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Yeah, we mentioned supposedly he developed or had night vision.
Right.
I mean, I've been trying to do research on if humans in general could ever possess that ability, which it's an adaptive trait, but if we don't have the right rods or like an animal versus an animal that is capable of seeing at night. I never had no confirmation of a human being having the yeah, we can see in low light, but we can't see in total darkness.
They do say when you are out in the woods that try to shut one eye if a light comes on. That way it would help preserve your night sight, better. Right. And that works a little bit because the minute you turn on a light, you've blown your sight, which I did to Jennifer. She's out there, Jen. I turned the light right on her face out there in the woods one time. And then you're a little bit blind for a while until your eyes reset to that dark. So. And the last of the older ones is not coming up. Why is that? There we go. Dina Sanakar. I think it's Sanakar. Does this look familiar to anybody? Does this guy kind of look familiar? Anybody out in the chat? Can you guess? Well, often known as the Wolf Boy,
Ah,
Dino was first discovered in 1867 after a band of hunters spied what they initially thought was a wild animal sleeping in the mouth of a cave in Bundeshar district, India. When the men finally smoked the creature out of its hiding place, they were astonished to find it was actually a boy around the age of 6. The child appeared to have been living in the wilderness for most of his life and had allegedly survived by scampering on all fours with a pack of wolves. The hunters brought the boy to the mission orphanage in Agra, where he was taken in and named Dina. Missionaries spent the next several years trying to rehabilitate the wolf boy, but years in the wild had taken their toll. Sanakar never learned to walk before his death in 1895, and he preferred to gnaw on bones and dine on raw animal meat rather than cooked food. Some have since suggested that this story may have inspired the feral boy character Mowgli in Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book.
hmm.
And so there's some more pictures of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting though that this guy never got to walk. I guess his muscles
Yeah,
and
he
everything.
never did learn to walk. I'll mark myself off here. Now we're gonna move a little bit up, and I've got to, I think I'm gonna take this out completely away.
Hmm.
This guy over here. Now we have the story of Jeannie Wiley. Um, she you'll see that black and white close-up photo of her. Um, her eyes are focused slightly above and to the right of the camera. She has that innocent looking face. This was actually from the 1970s. She was born in 1957. And oh, I just got away from my thing here. Why did I do that? Oh, she was the victim of severe child abuse and a research subject in language acquisition once they found her. So this happened in Arcadia, California. And next, she's known for being the victim of the abuse. No, I already said that. She was considered an American feral child who was the victim of several abuse, neglect, and social isolation. Her circumstances are prominently recorded in the linguistics and abnormal child psychology. When she was approximately 20 months old, her father began keeping her in a locked room. During this period, he almost always strapped her to a toilet and bound her in a crib with her arms and her legs, immobilizing her and forbade any kind of interactions with her, which left her severely malnourished. She was brought to the attention of Los Angeles County Child Welfare Authorities in the 70s, and she was 13 years old when they brought her out of the house. So she became a ward of the state at that point, but she also had all this interaction with people taken away from her, and she had lost all of her ability to speak and interact, and um, that's a long time, for having that type of abuse. Now this is special. This isn't out in the woods, but when
Right.
you take yourself out of a social situation and put yourself into a place where you're going to be that isolated, younger, isolated, um, you lose those things. You lose the ability to,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, that's a sad situation for sure.
It is very sad, and a lot of them were linked. You know, some of these older feral stories were linked to the abuse.
Right.
It might be different in adult type situations where, you know, there's people out there that are like, I've had it with the traffic, with people, I'm done. And they just pack up and they move out to the wilderness and try to survive, you know, by themselves out there. And I know there's a
Right.
lot of people who can survive that and they do quite well. You know, a lot of survivalists. We know many who come here in the chat who have taken time away from society and tried to reset. You know, they try to reset themselves
Right.
and successfully do that, but some never come out of that and they stay there forever. And that's something that's interesting when researchers go out into the woods, or even the general public who are now become more into hiking and going out into the woods and camping, and they run into something, possibly running through the woods, that they can't identify. So I mean, do you think there's a huge percentage, or is it just a minute little piece of the puzzle that maybe some of these people are misidentifying Bigfoot and it's just a feral human, or it's somebody out there in the woods?
The way I would respond to that, like I share with a lot of things I find and come across, I always say there's room for possibilities. um, I mean,
Right.
but being more specific on something like that, it's I don't know. You know, it definitely sounds very possible. I mean, we got a history of this, so I mean,
Right.
and yeah, anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would think like a lot of people, you know, you hear a lot of people say, well, with today's technology, we would find Bigfoot. Well, what about if that's the case? You know, what if we do have young feral people in the woods? Wouldn't they be able to be found easier? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how you look at that or consider that. You know,
Right.
you
And
know.
we'll never really come up with the answer to that, right? Because it's their encounter, it's their
Right.
story, and we weren't there. So we have to take them for their word, right? I mean, we don't have to believe it,
Right.
but it's not something that we're going to be able to prove or not prove. If somebody comes and say, "Hey, I saw a Sasquatch," well, they saw Sasquatch. Um, Same with, you know, people do run into kids out there occasionally, and so happens that they run into missing kids. There's several videos right now on YouTube where this motocross guy, or he's riding his bike out, you know, and he runs into this kid just out there. And turns out they
You
had
know,
been looking for him for hours. But so you never quite know what's going to happen or what's going on.
I wouldn't know if I'd be more scared to find kids out in the woods versus kids in a cornfield. So.
Yeah, no, we don't have to go to the cornfield at all. Why? Oh, 21-7 Lions. Holy cow. Oh man, that's going to be interesting if it's the Lions and the Chiefs. Okay. Next we got Oksana Malaya, who she's pretty her story is really out there all over. There was all kinds of documentaries done on this girl. So Oksana, this was back she was born in 83, which makes her about 40 now. She's still alive. They consider her a feral child of Ukraine. So her story is that, where's the part I wanted to read? Let me see. So, okay, she was born in the village of Nova, something really long name. I'm not going to say the names because I'll just butcher them. in the Ukraine. And according to doctors and medical records, she was a normal child at birth, but was later neglected by her alcoholic father at the age of 3, and she lived surrounded by dogs. When Malaya was found by authorities, she was 7.5 years old, but she could not talk, lacked many basic skills, and physically behaved like a dog. She was running around on all fours, barking. She slept on the floor. She ate and took care of her hygiene like a dog. Malaya was removed from her parents' custody by social services. So she got more care from the dogs than she did her own parents, who neglected her, and became a dog. And I think I'm not sure, but I may have put the link to this particular documentary down in the description. I'm not sure. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But just look up by her name. There are tons of articles about her.
Wow. And where is this located? Out of the Ukraine, you said?
Ukraine. Yeah, she was in the
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Okay.
She eventually transferred to a foster home for mentally disabled children, and she underwent years of specialized therapy and education to address her behavioral, social, and educational issues. And as an adult, she she got taught to subdue her behaviors as a dog, and she did learn to speak. She they say she went to work at a farm, and she's still a little bit intellectually impaired. It says here, Channel 4 documentary. She has a documentary done in Portuguese, Russia TV. In Asia, she's got a bunch of different stuff that they've put out on her. The dog girl, and they just call her the dog girl. She did give an interview too on national Ukrainian TV in 2013. So interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of feral stories, I mean, there was some more that I didn't look up. The wild people of the Navidad, the wild woman of the Wachita, wild man of Tennessee, Mason Evans, the wild man of Chilliwack, Lucian, Joseph Israel Lobdell, bunch. We have a lot of the situations that have come up that people get lost out there. Why is it? Oh, let's do that. And now we get
yes,
this
I remember this.
Casey Hathaway. Okay, another thing that's went around in the community as, was it a Bigfoot, right, that saved this kid? So for those who don't know, Casey Hathaway was a 3-year-old boy who was lost in the freezing forest for 3 days in North Carolina. And he says a bear kept him safe. So the question was, could a bear keep a boy safe and from not freezing? So now there were stories that came later saying that Bear was the name of a guy that was a neighbor.
Okay.
I went back to look for some kind of documentation saying that, and I couldn't find any. If somebody out there has that info, please send it my way so I can attach it to my file here. But most the authorities say that his body temperature was really, really low. His fingers and toes were starting to show signs of frostbite. So they do think he really was out, because a lot of people speculated he probably curled up in a car or in some kind of shelter somewhere. Right. So
Yeah.
Oh, you have that
Well,
information? Brent says he
well,
has that information. I couldn't find it.
yeah. My only the red flag I see with anybody come claim that there's a neighbor by the name of Bear. If that person, if that was true in any way, you would
Hmm.
think that person should have had enough sense to, hey, call the authorities. I got this kid that I found wandering, lost.
Right.
You know
Well,
why?
they
Yeah.
say that guy was on the spectrum, so he may not have actually been all there as well. So, Brent, get busy with it and put out the information or send it to me or something.
Yeah.
But I use this more as the example of, he was a kid, describing or saying it was a bear. But how many other people, will do that? Mistake.
Right.
Now, in my eyes, it would be hard to think that a bear is a Sasquatch just for the fact of the way they walk is be so different.
Right.
When a bear is up on its hind legs, its arms aren't dragging down at the bottom. They're kind of up like the picture you see there.
Right. Exactly.
Um,
My Here's the other thing. The way I look at this is bears, especially black bears, which are very common up and along the East Coast here. My knowledge and experience with black bears is that they're very skittish of humans. You know, they tend to go the opposite direction and don't want nothing to do with us. You know, they'll stand their ground if they're backed, if they're cornered or threatened by any means, but they
right.
tend to not to have nothing to do with us. So that's something I'm thinking about too. Um, I could understand where a lot of people want to believe that there could be a Bigfoot involved, only because being that the child was so young, his
Mm,
identification of what may have been protecting him or keeping him could have been something. I mean, again, I don't know. It's I'd like to consider there's that possibility, but we have no definitive proof on something like this. It's just, again, being a young child, how would he be able to identify? You know, Maybe a Bigfoot to him was a bear. So,
right. Well, Brent
but
says I have a screenshot of the family saying it was a man that took him.
oh
I've always thought it was a man that took him.
yeah,
So, but it's still, and this leads into my next segment, which is the Bigfoot in the news, that um, I'm just going to go straight into it because in Bigfoot news, I'm not going to play the whole little thing I have for it. Right? It's all about Bigfoot and bears and how the study is finally out, the modeling study that Floe Foxon did about black bear populations and Bigfoot sightings. And I know several of you heard this on one of the other Bigfoot news. There's two Bigfoot in news before my show, but it's still relevant to what I'm talking about today. And in and but the report is out, okay? So that was the big thing for me, is that this modeling study was actually peer reviewed and is in the Journal of Zoology, and I've got that also listed down in the description if you want to look at it, because it was really a good comparison, because what they're saying is that people are just seeing bears out there, right? But nobody has done a report quite like this one, and that I've run into. Maybe there's a dozen, I don't know. But she compares Bigfoot reports to bear reports to the human population and forested areas. So between all those four things, you really get to see where how things are happening in the US and well, actually North America. So it's
yeah,
kind of fooling. If you're looking at the human population one, I'm like, whoa, just California is all blue. But it's colored by the numbers, okay?
right.
So the lighter the number, the lighter the color, the less population. So when you can see it up close, it looks better. Anyway.
Right. This little of this kind of brings to mind some studies. Well, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, for example, Lauren Coleman states it in one of his books that I read some years ago. But Jeff Meldrum actually lays out a brief study. When I got to sit in on one of his presentations a couple years ago, I probably won't be able to describe it or lay it out there the best, but I'll try my best to. But he throws it out there where it makes a lot of common sense and it makes you think. But as far as populations that inhabit bears, consider them as a predator that requires a lot of protein and calories to survive in a particular area.
Right.
It basically goes for every black bear that inhabits a certain area. Your highly populated bear areas are most likely able to inhabit or produce a Bigfoot for that area. So basically, if there's enough that a bear can survive in the area, then there's a good possibility or chance that a possible Bigfoot could be there. Now, again, by me throwing that out there, it's probably nowhere as good as what they said. But the way Meldrum puts it, it makes a lot of sense. So if you kind of consider the food sources and the ecology,
right.
So yes, bears are thriving there among other predators. There's a good chance that area may produce Bigfoot activity or Bigfoot's existence there. So it's something to think about, I think.
Right. I mean, in my world, bears don't take care of children. They're not blue. The big blue bear. They're not happy. Take care of friendly animals. They're wild animals and they act like wild animals. So, but there was a lot of people saying, oh, it could be a bear, taking care of them, and those who didn't think it was a bear immediately thought it could be a Sasquatch because everybody wants to make everything into a Sasquatch.
Right. But yeah, to me, a bear didn't make sense either. I mean, not saying it couldn't be possible, but I'm just saying it's, in my honest opinion, it is very highly unlikely because, like, with bears and humans, they don't like to be around humans. So.
Now, on the other end of that spectrum is primates. We do know of a situation. Do you remember when that little boy fell into the gorilla enclosure?
Yes.
I think it was in Illinois somewhere, and the gorilla picked up the child and moved towards the door. The little kid was knocked out or whatever, and cradled him until the rescuers came and got the kid. Now I'm not sure if that's the one that they shot the gorilla. There was like two.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to remember because I know, the bear. I mean, not the bear. The gorilla did appear to be trying to be protective. I think, that gorilla to where it was a young child. They have their own young, but
I think in one of the instances they had to shoot the gorilla, but I'm not sure if they did it with that one child I'm thinking of, that the female had it and kept it safe until it was rescued. But that's the thing, it's a primate and it has instincts to take care of its young, and it's obvious they recognize us as somebody with children. You see it all the time. They have how many YouTubes and TikToks of people face to face on the other side of the glass, and they want to see the baby. And they're saying, see the baby, or look at your photos, and they have some intelligence there. So
personalities and intelligence.
Right. EC says, do a study of Bigfoot sightings and sighting of raccoons. Why would that? You think raccoons have what? Wait a minute. You see raccoons and you see Bigfoot, or what would be the correlation there? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, You know, the only time I ever compared a Bigfoot with a raccoon was the eye shine, because based off my 2014 encounter, yeah, they all three had large yellow, bright looking eyes. Now, but a year ago, a good year ago, I was walking with a group of people, and I was showing them the location. It was a night hike. I showed them the location where my encounter took place, but we went down beyond that, headed down to the lake. And part of that road leading to the lake, you cross over where the river flows underneath. And I was walking on the edge of that road and had just so happened to look down, and I had these bright yellow looking eyes looking at me because I had my headlamp on. And just for a quick instant, a moment, I was like, my heart jumped because for one thing, it startled me. But I looked down and saw these bright yellow eyes looking up at me. And I thought, oh shit, it's just a raccoon. But that ain't what we saw in 2014, you know, based off of their heights and everything and the shape of the silhouette we seen on the tallest one. But the yellow, because, you know, raccoons have that yellow. That's the only thing I would ever compare, you know, the Bigfoots, you know, to a, you know, raccoon is the eye shot and the eye reflection. So, but yeah, that's about it. I don't see any other way to compare a raccoon to a Bigfoot. You know, I don't know. Except that raccoons and possums, they do have they have opposable thumbs. That's about it. So.
Oh, they said that gorilla was killed, the female one. Sad. Let me read this one. The animals inhabit the same environment. That's all the study of bears and Bigfoot seen shows. You could do the same correlation of sightings of Bigfoot and any creature in the first. That's true. You can. And that's science, right? You have to not just take one animal and compare it to another, but you should really do all the animals in that area if you want to get a better look at what's going on in any specific environment. Because they're all fair game at night, right? You have heard thousands of people say it sounded like it was this crashing thing and it was a squirrel. You know? Yeah. Because in the middle of the night, your senses, right, wake up, and little things out there tend to sound big, like big things.
Yeah, our reactions, we tend to exaggerate with our reactions at night more than, you know, because we don't know what we're hearing and what's creating what we're hearing sometimes.
But, I know. You can ask Jen. I would be like, did you hear that? I was that girl. Did you hear that? Or
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, I've been out in the woods at night across from the area where the encounter took place with other people, and we're sitting there at night, and barred owls. We have barred owls, and not everybody gets to hear all the sounds of barred owls. They give off a god awful scream that will make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. And we had one night, real close, right behind camp, scream, and my buddy like, dude, he jumped up. He's like, dude, we got a Bigfoot. I said, no, relax. It's just a now, you know. So not everybody gets to hear the sounds because they're not out there enough to experience these things, you know. But yeah, owls could freak you out, you know.
Well, before we move on, that topic right there with owls, okay, spurs on a whole nother thing, and that's mimicking, right?
A lot of people believe that.
What is your take? Do you believe that Bigfoot mimic the animals out there?
I believe it's possible. I've been out in the woods with certain other people I used to associate with. You probably know who I'm talking about. We've heard owls out there. Now, just for example, in my area in Virginia, there's mountains and ridges and hollows and this and that. A lot of vocals, depending on where the vocal is originated from, a lot of the sounds will bounce off of other ridges. And depends how far back the subject is. Like, for example, if an owl is sounding off, you know, it's going to sound more bassy. It's going to sound deeper, you know, versus hearing it up close. So it really depends. And people got to keep that in mind that, you know, we can't assume that it's a Bigfoot, you know, because it sounds different than what we're normally hearing. But to answer your question more directly, I think it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to rule that out. So yeah.
Right. I think we won't know that answer unless somebody sees Bigfoot hooping
Right.
like an owl.
Exactly.
But you're right. What 24/7? 24/7. Whoa. Okay. What else does she say? This assumption that bears and Bigfoots are sighted in the same habitat does not mean, therefore, that people are confusing the two. It simply means they inhabited the same habitat as. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you put yourself out there, that's the goal of the researcher investigator, right? Is to go out there to put yourself into situations where you could possibly have a sighting or run into that special evidence, But yeah, if you're going out there into the woods, you're not just going out there and running into Bigfoot stuff. You're running into everything else out there, including other humans. So yes, you are right about that.
Go hang out at a bear's den and see if Bigfoot comes to visit his bear neighbor.
Maybe, who knows?
Anyway,
it's an interesting report. If you guys are interested in that. So next we go on.
Tell me what you got. Tim, you heard them said, show me what you got.
All right. So we have got show me, and they showed me. So this photo I saw in a couple different places. I just barely tracked down where it's a video. Okay, it's not just a screenshot. It turns out it's a video, and I did find it on the RMSO website. Just so you know, putting it out there. It's not where I got it from, and I didn't use their video, but the video is there if you guys want to go look at this. But I'm going to describe to you what I see. And the video is of a group of guys out there doing it. In the background, you can see a truck, a vehicle. In between the guy and the camera, you see something moving. Okay. I don't know what. They don't approach it. They don't show him going around to get a different angle. It stops. It's a very short clip, right? We don't have the beginning, the end, or follow through. No follow through on it. So if you want to go find that, be my guest to go look. This is a screenshot that they were passing around to different groups because you can kind of pareidolia, remember, you can see a face there. Whether it's really a face or not, I don't know, because there's not enough information. You don't really see this face in the video. When the video's playing, it just looks like something moving. Okay. It's not until if you take that shot and then you're zooming in as far as you can that you're going to get that kind of image right there of whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, regardless if it's pareidolia or not, I mean, yeah, I could see that it does look like a face, but
right.
I mean, we can get faces out of wood grains, the moon, coast, and so many other things,
So many other things. But I think the important thing here is that when you're presenting your evidence, that you're showing, if you're gonna present it, be wary that people are going to want to know the whole story. They're going to want to know where exactly you were. Where's the rest of the video? Did you put the rest of the video out, or are you just showing us this 30 seconds or less of a piece of footage? So I have done the deep dive on this one. Okay, I barely saw this one yesterday. And I'm going to further check into it and see if there's more to the story. But it's just the way it was presented. It made it seem like they found this way out in the deep woods when you can clearly see a vehicle that when they pan, you clearly see a vehicle up on a road. It could be in somebody's backyard for all I know. I don't know.
And you said this came from the RMS.
The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wanted to verify because I've learned that people send them all kinds of stuff, and they people send them stuff because they know they put it out there.
But that's not where I found it originally. I found it a screenshot on another Bigfoot thing, and I seen it 2 times. I saw it 2 times. And so I thought, well, this is going around. I'm going to grab it and throw it in the show. And just before I knew it, I was over on RMSO, and I was like, oh, dang. I hate doing stuff they have on their channel.
Right.
But there's a video. And see, I would have never known there was a whole video to this had I not kept on checking. So you guys can go check on those blob squatches stuff. So the next one is, I just found this interesting because this is here in New Mexico. This was just posted, and it did have 2 prints, right? Well, actually 3. So it's a small trackway. That's all I know. I intend to reach out to these people, but I wanted to get the opinion of the chat. How realistic do these prints look to you?
If I have to throw my 2 cents in, we got the left foot right there. We got the right foot over there. I mean, if they were found together, in my honest opinion, just judging from the size and shape of the heel, I mean, the right foot is a little further out, so it's, I guess, I don't know. They look different. I don't know. And also looking at the toes, the layout of the toes,
I'm real suspicious of those toes.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the one on the look to the left foot. Look at those toes, and then
I should have blew those up, but I didn't.
The second toe next to the Bigfoot on the left foot side. Why does that look like just a small little indentation compared to the other ones? They look more elongated.
Elongated, right? That's what I thought too. Like maybe somebody poked and the heat from their fingers melted those centers of those toes.
I feel like
they have done that. Or they have seen the photos and went, oh, look, there's toes right here, here, and here. And then, you get immediately that whatever little bit of snow, because it's not very deep snow. It just looks like it's a dusting of snow.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's interesting, though. I'm going to follow up and see where these pictures actually came from, because supposedly a friend showed me these pics this morning. So that's what he said. So I'm going to check it out, see what's going on with those. But I thought they were interesting. And the 2 feet, I want to tell you, the 2 feet look completely different to me. I mean, they don't
agree.
look like the same animal. Yeah.
Look up around the ball of the foot. The shape looks completely different. The heel and the ball of the foot, they have a slightly different shape to me. I mean, that's just me, but yeah.
I don't know. It just looked a little weird, but I'm going to see if I can get in touch with this person and find out some more information about that. Amon Chris says, I don't think an ultra-calloused foot would transfer much heat. That's a good point, because they do say there's thick pads on those Bigfoot feet, which would be a good adaptation for them to survive barefoot. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something that's believable to me. I don't necessarily think that they're cream colored, perfect little feet down there. Okay. I do still have issues with P&G patty feet being so clean. I just don't think it would be like that.
Now, I was shown a trackway in the snow, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, roughly, give or take. I was in my research area, my vehicle. I was parked up the bathhouse, and I was standing outside my vehicle. And these young guys in a small pickup truck came by. They saw my decals on my vehicle, and they felt the need to stop. And like, dude, you're in the Bigfoot. I was like, they pulled out their phone, showed me some pictures. Now, keep in mind, they didn't just find this; they had these on their phone, and there's no phone service out there. They said, "Look at these." And I'm looking at these, and I was kind of blown away. These tracks had to been set at least a minimum of 17 inches, and they were wide, long, and you could see a long, narrow gate, a whole trackway on the side of a forest road. And here I am thinking, man, was this around here? Like, I said, where do you guys find these at? They told me the name of the area. I said, are you kidding me? Because that's like just maybe a half hour or so north of my area. And I've heard a lot of stories and reports from that area, which was interesting. But yeah, their trackway, was probably about an inch or two. They were probably about an inch or two deep, on the side of a snow-covered road, But they look pretty impressive. They were something I never seen before. They were very large tracks, and they were consistent in their pattern. I feel comfortable saying that they weren't double-step bear tracks,
Yeah.
But every single track.
I looked at those right there, and I'm like, those aren't bear tracks for sure. They're not.
Right.
They're either Bigfoot tracks or they're fake tracks. One of those two.
Right.
I definitely couldn't see a double step on there at all. The roundness, especially the toe angles and all that, I don't see it. What am I? I'm not a tracker. Okay. I just seen a lot of pictures. So
yeah.
Anyway,
if there were, you would have seen more bear track. You would have seen more separation and stuff amongst. If that was bear, there should have been more anyway to begin with. Why just 2 anyway? So, yeah.
So I don't know what snow flies are, but Jonathan says, does that track have snow flies in it? Awful dark in there. I don't know what snow flies are. Is there such a thing as snow flies?
I'm not. That's the first for me. I'm not familiar with that.
I've never heard of snow flies. Is that a joke, Jonathan? Okay. Let me check. All right. So anyway, interesting. Have to do more follow-up. Right. Fleas. Oh, snow fleas. I still didn't know insects were out and about all winter long. Fleas, though. Snow fleas. Flies was funnier. Okay. So this picture, it says on the top there, Sasquatch spooked the bears. It is a video, okay? And all you do is you see the bears coming up the trail. They're not even really running or anything. They're just coming up the trail there. But this is what we deal with, is that people making their own narratives to convince other people, there's no sign or any audio or anything related to Sasquatch. There's no hoops or hollers in this video. It's just the bears walking up the trail.
I've seen this video. I recognize the scenery. I've seen the video. The bears are not walking nonchalantly. They're not running or
Right.
I recognize this.
Group of a mom and her cubs, older cubs. But that's what people pick up, right? Because this gets shared around, and
people post and share, and like you said, make their own narratives up.
There's some people out there
people do whatever they got to do to get their views.
You're right, Central Florida. Good to see you, Matt. It was a perfect diagonal on those toes. Perfect enough to fake them, maybe? I don't know. We'll have to see. Do the bears have snow fleas? Do the bears have snow fleas? I don't know. You guys are obsessed with fleas. Okay. What is this? I watched the full show later. Lions up 24-7 at the halftime. Wow. Know a lot of Lions fans being pretty excited right now. Okay. So let's move on. So here is the napping Bigfoot.
Oh my.
Just so you all know, okay? I couldn't help it. I had to make a comment, and I said, "So are you saying that big white leafy looking thing is the face of a Bigfoot? If so, where's the body and why is the thing so small? The head of a Bigfoot would significantly be larger than that photo. Can you please post the original photo, not zoomed in, and provide the pictures before and after? Thank you." I was very nice when I posted that. I did not get a response back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad out there, people. Amon Chris says I'd buy Jack Frost before Bigfoot.
Right?
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. But that's what we have, right? That's what people are posting around, and people believe it because they don't want to be negative. That's the new
Right.
thing, matter of fact. They don't want to say any negative because everybody has the right to say whatever because we, weren't there, didn't experience it. But in my world, my eyes are telling me that is just foliage. That's just, leaves back there. That's what it's telling me. And
Well, the other thing is too, like you mentioned, like, oh, people say, well, you weren't there, I was. Well, technically, they really weren't either, because what they're doing is they're taking your videos and they're random videos or random pictures, and
right.
while we all know they zoom into the certain point where it becomes distorted and pixelated, where BS like this gets created or formed or pulled out, and they're like, oh, I captured something, and technically, regardless, it's people are just creating stuff that's not there because they wanted to be there, so it's very common.
But that's the majority, is that they put out their videos of their little hike or walk, and then people come and they take screenshots and zoom way, way in, okay, not just a little bit, but a lot. And that's when all the distortion and pixelation happens, and you start seeing faces. Because people can, the brain wants faces. They want to see eyes and a mouth, and you can pick that out of anything, like you said.
And I get people watching my field videos, and they comment, hey, go look at, you got one at such and such timestamp. And, I welcome people to do that because, okay, I'll go back and look and see what they're talking about. And I'll slow it down right before that. I'll slow it down and watch it all the way through. And I'm watching exactly what some of it looks like it's something, but that something is usually, because here's another thing I try to tell people. When people upload their videos to YouTube, it gets downgraded to a lower quality. I got excellent video clear footage. I could show you me walking through the woods on my phone versus when I upload that video footage on YouTube, it slightly gets to a lower level. It's not high grade or whatever you want. So but
you see Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And Uncle Bone says Colorado Bigfoot's trick. You're right. He does do that on all his stuff he has. He does that, blow up pics and pick out stuff, and that makes them popular. They have some of the hugest channels, some of the groups who do that, right?
It's sad. It's funny. I'm glad you said that. It's the people that post the bogus stuff to get the biggest followings. Yeah.
And they will be hardcore followers. Okay, they don't take lightly to people telling them otherwise. Oh gosh, I just got distracted. Dang. I never tried to get pictures of Bigfoot. Well, we want pictures, Gary. I did the right thing with Heart of Gold. Yes, you have a Heart of Gold. We want pictures. Cowboy says, sending Nikki some red pens. I got one right here. I showed you on the last show. I was experimenting with purples and whites and blues and all different colors. Yeah, people, again, I'm going to say it over and over again because I think it is so important. If you have pictures and stuff that you're putting out there into the public, into social media, if you can't see with your own eyes what's in the picture, then probably not post it. Probably keep it for yourself and for your investigations, right? But the minute you alter that photo, you are doing no justice to the system. Okay.
Right.
You have created a false narrative, I guess, because you are telling us, look here in this circle. This is where it is. We should be able to see it without the circle. Don't zoom in. Don't clear it up. Don't change the colors. Don't crop it, lighten it, whatever you're going to do. Don't do that. Just put out, your picture should stand on its own. The original photo should stand on its own. And if it doesn't, then it's no good for the public. Keep it.
Yep.
You know what you saw. You know what you were out there and what you took a picture of. I'm not telling you not to keep it. I'm just saying that when you post stuff like this, don't expect everybody to believe it. And some people are going to criticize it and talk about it like I do. So,
because they're deceiving themselves and misguiding others. That a lot of people that get people that support this, that they're just gullible and naive individuals that have Bigfoot on the brain. Of course, they're going to believe all the above, but that's why I tell people, stop deceiving yourself in this way. But be a little bit more critical. I know sometimes it's easier said than done. Get Bigfoot off your brain. Yeah.
Well, what happens is people who own these channels feel a lot of pressure. They feel a lot of pressure from their followers to produce. And so they will take it to that extreme and they will say, look what I got. Look what I got today on today's walk. I got 4 Bigfoots and a little person. That doesn't help. That doesn't help us. But
we would love to have that. I would love to be able to produce stuff like that. If it was real, Yeah.
Right. So we'll never get far with the majority doing that, right? With the majority of channels producing their own evidence. That's what it is. We aren't going to get very far. You really have to look for people who are being honest, and the honest ones have a Bigfoot every time they go out. Okay, they don't, because they're putting in the hard work and they're out there, boots on the ground, like we say, and putting in the time, and they're still not getting the evidence. But guess what? They are getting the credibility. And to like-minded, critical thinkers, people who want real answers, that makes a difference. That makes more of a difference than having a Bigfoot, a fake photo that is questionable. It doesn't even have to be fake. It's just questionable out there. Maybe you really do have a Bigfoot in that picture. We can't say, we'll never be really able to say, other than I can give my commentary and I can give my opinion about what it is. So that's my take. Was that a rant?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was a full-on rant, but what do I got next? Oh gosh. Okay, this is an oldie that has recently come back around, and of yellow top. So I thought I'd give a little history lesson about where yellow top came from, the history of yellow top, and how it links into some other things that have happened in the community. So Yellow Top stemmed from a sighting or several sightings out of the Cobalt, Ontario, Canada area. Okay. And an hour south of Cobalt is Temagami Island. Okay. And from there, I'm going to take you to the whole Ben Mateen Temagami Island Bigfoot. Okay. I did a show on this, gosh, like my first or second show on this. We might bring this back if I have any more information on it. But back in 2007, Ben Mateen, he was being chased by the authorities, and he took refuge out in the woods. And while he was out there hiding, he saw Bigfoot, a giant Bigfoot. Okay. He says that they came, the men in black came, and they confiscated his videos. And a couple years later, some filmmakers came out and they did a reenactment of the whole Temagami Bigfoot, which is what you see right there. Okay, that is a reenactment. People then, after years have gone by, have taken that photo and said that was the Temagami Bigfoot, the real footage. We don't have the real footage. Supposedly that went with the men in black. Okay. So this this was the reenactment, and then they went out again to get pictures near that big uprooted stump log. So I kind of imposed them together. Okay. Now, this was also part of the Temagami face that was seen out there, and part of yellow hair. Okay. So remember, same area. This was the mask that was used for that. Right after that, you have the hybrid photos. Okay, they're very popular. That photo right there comes up once a year in social media. Well, all these got taken around the same time. Okay, this is 2009 when they reported the sighting, and the hybrids took 3 photos from their cottage. Those are 2 of them. The other one is kind of almost the same, just a little bit different. So I started putting 2 and 2. I think, in my opinion, it's the same Bigfoot suit. Okay. The hair lines up, the head lines up, the holes in the suit kind of line up. Like on the side, there's this big black missing hair piece there. Well, on the other photo, it's the same. I think the dates have been mixed up a little bit. I do think that when they did the reenactment, that guy was out there walking around in that area. It was the same area, okay? And he got his pictures taken by unsuspecting people outside their cottage. So
yeah,
it's my opinion. I don't have any proof that that's what happened, but it makes sense to me, and it looks the same.
The one on the right here, the one with the darker hair, reminds me of one of Mark Andrews' Bigfoots that he used.
Oh, Mark Andrews. Yeah, he did a lot. His Bigfoot was real black, though.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Blacker and shorter, furry type hair. So, yeah. But this is just different lighting because of the where it was taken. But up, out of a cottage, up a hill type of thing, picture. What is this? You guys remember a couple years ago, a trail cam picture of half a face? If you turn it upside down, you can clearly see a cougar. Yes, that also came up recently. I saw that again somewhere.
I know what they're talking about. Okay, just
the weird eye that was.
Yeah.
Yep, they changed it. Got to look at that stuff. Where are we now? Let's see. be on the lookout. I'm not going to play that one too. You guys, I ran into this hilarious channel.
What?
It's called Expert Sasquatch Experts. Okay. It is a comedy channel. Okay. If you don't have a sense of humor, please don't go there. Okay. Because they're just hilarious. It's, I'm going to read from their little bio thing. It says, follow us, our expertise exploits hunting Sasquatch, searching for Sasquatch, beginning with a journey through the nationally recognized home of Sasquatch. Siblings Ken and Sandy decided to become expertise experts on all things Sasquatch, real and not real. So join them as they trek through the forests, mountains, and bars, discovering new and exciting Sasquatchy facts. Absolutely none of these facts in this channel are made up, fabricated, or photoshopped, not even a little. Learn how to leave your own love offerings in your locally, nationally recognized home of mythical beasts. That's what it says. But it's hilarious. I told them I was gonna put a little thing on them in my show, and I got the permission. So you can find their link down in the description below. Go hit them up and subscribe. They're a small growing channel, and spread a little bit of love. If one of my mods can grab that link and share that, I'd appreciate it. But they're funny. It was funny. You got to have a sense of humor, because I was like, man, they're talking about me. And I was like, but it's funny. It's still funny, and it was good. So still go watch that. Okay, that was a little bit funny stuff there. Also, another thing to be on the lookout for is the SheSquatchers put out a recent music video called Bigfoot Rock and Roar. Okay, so you will find that link down below as well. It was really entertaining. Jenna has a great voice. I think it was fabulous what they did there, and fun. I'm sure they had a great time doing it. But kudos to the girls for putting out something like that. It was fun. It was, a little bit crazy. I don't think I could do that, but it seemed like they had a good time with it. So
I just recently watched the latest episode that Jason Kinsey, searching for Sasquatch. He's had him on a couple times, but he just released episode 9, and then episode 10 is now available on Tubi. I have yet to check that one out. It's called the Minnesota Roars, and that also includes the SheSquatchers. So they have all the episodes on Amazon Prime.
Minnesota Roars. Oh, that's the band. Yes. That's the name of the band. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
So we're gonna check that out eventually here soon, because like I said, I like watching Jason Kinsey's films. I think he does a great job. He adds humor in there, but everything's serious, but he likes to have fun, so. But,
right. Yeah. So that was that. There was something else I added last minute, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, this happened right before the show, so I added it on the end. That picture in the background there, this girl, I guess, put on there, well, we got him, game over, now stop arguing, is the comment she had, with this, which was funny, and I thought it was all a joke, but she did it with some other pictures. And I was like, oh my, does she really not know how to search this? It took me 10 seconds. Maybe she was, and I just didn't get her joke that, because sometimes when you write, it doesn't come across the same way. Okay. I'm the first to know that. But it did take me all of 5 seconds to drop the picture and come up exactly where this thing came from. It's from my YouTube channel called Late Night Strange. Actually, really good channel, a new channel to find. I did not, because it was right before the show, I did not put this in the link. Maybe I should do that now. How do I do that? Where is it? Do I even have it here? Oh, I didn't even go through all that. Okay. It's on the screen, but I can't get to it. So anyway, it's called Late Night Strange. Just look it up on YouTube. It's a pretty good channel, but all his artwork, all his pictures are AI. Okay, they're all AI generated. So,
yeah, I see the comments, your comment on there too. Yeah.
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 I put it on there, let them know. That particular one came from his episode about rock apes. But you know, they still like, is this AI? What is it? Where'd it come from? And I should have put more of, I just ran out of time and I just stuck it in there. But you know, people are willing to believe stuff. So,
Right.
and AI is getting better. If you pay for AI, you get really good pictures. You know, most of us are using the free versions of all this stuff and it isn't bad. So they recently came out with a new article about how AI is going to start fixing hands and feet. Believe it or not. Remember last week I said you can always tell AI because they always fuck up the hands and the feet and there's always too many or, you know, stuff like that happening. Well, they have realized that now and they are fixing it. So pretty soon it's gonna get even harder to tell what is real and not real. And like I said, if you pay for the full service, you're gonna get some even more amazing photos out there that are not going to be real. But hopefully, since they were generated.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say it's better just to stop believing everything on the internet for the time being.
Almost. But hopefully that because it was generated online, you know, through a service, that you will be able to drop those pictures into imaging searches and come up with, you know, where it was created or where it's posted. Hopefully, you know, it'll have that link on there. So that's all we have to pray for. Pray that it is going to help us out with that because it's crazy.
People got to realize how incredible AI is. I mean, for us to see something on the internet, you know, with someone's claim, like, look at this Bigfoot in this picture. If it looks real, well, look at all the movies, you know, Hollywood produces. All the monsters, the creatures, everything that we see, they are made to look realistic. AI is a powerful thing, you know. So, but look at the Megalodon, look at Jurassic Park, you know. So,
right.
So.
I think the Avatar movies were amazing, you know, and all half of that was all done computerized.
Right.
So anyway, that's the show, folks. We are 15 till Steve calls show. So everybody can head on over to Squatch D TV for his next showing. Anybody got any questions for Daniel? What do you got coming up? What's the very next thing you got coming up?
Well, right now, let's see what we're almost approaching February. Well, I'm still me and Julie, we're still getting ready for our May event, even though pretty much everything's in order. I mean, like I said, we're still getting vendors because that event it's an outdoor festival. And like I said, we currently have 41 vendors, and we got plenty of room for more. First initial thing, we thought we were going to have to keep it to a minimum, but we realized that we actually have a lot more space than we anticipated. So yeah, it's an outdoor festival. We got guest speakers lined up, and I mean, Jason Kenzie, film producer of Search for Sasquatch. He's going to be one of our speakers. He's coming all the way from British Columbia to join us. He's even agreed to camp out with us a couple days after the event because that's when our first group camp out is. It's immediately following the festival. We'll be out there for a week, and Jason said he could do about 2 days, and then he's going to be elsewhere. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. That's happening right here in Somerset, Pennsylvania. All the information is on Facebook. I've been posting and sharing and promoting that, even on my YouTube channel. Then jumping ahead a whole month later, we have the annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference, the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference, happening in Wares Cave, Virginia. It's this year. It's a 2-day event, June 14th and 15th. So, and we got our speakers lined up for that. We're throwing in a little bit more paranormal this year. We got more paranormal teams involved. And for those who know or follow the Wraith Chasers, they're going to be our special guests this year. Watch their shows on the Travel Channel and whatnot. My committee team does a lot of events with them throughout the year. So we got that going on. And this year we're actually doing workshops. That's something we haven't done before. We're doing workshops, and we got one set up for that so far. We'd like to get at least a couple more. I think that would be great if we could get at least 2 more. But other than that, we're getting out in the woods. We're doing our research as often as possible. Every free time we get, if time permits, and also the weather. We watch the weather because we've been getting a lot of snow up here. But this past weekend was the first time we got out there and got to spend some good time out there. And so we have more on the way. It's just a matter of time. But so I have yet to put together some video clips and some footage. I'll be working on that very soon because I got some thermal in. I was playing around with my new thermal. It's called the X Infrared T2 Pro, and I'm very impressed with that thermal. It's excellent. It was well worth every dollar I spent on that. So, but yeah, there's other equipment I have yet to play around and experiment with. I have people bugging me about it. That's like when I can. I want to focus on one thing at a time. They want to know because. They want to be able to, they're considering buying it too, but they want to see what it looks like. So, I mean, it's just like me with my equipment. I read into things, I read the reviews, and if it's in my budget, I go after it, but you're gambling on everything you buy, regardless of what it is. So, but,
that's true.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
what you may find good about it, somebody else may not like that feature, because everybody uses equipment differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes you have to just take that, chance. Just go for it, But I can tell you the X Infrared T2 Pro, from what little I've got to experiment with it out there, it's got me impressed. Everything's a touch of a button. You don't have to worry about maneuvering this button. Everything's right there in front of you on your screen. You got a good view of screen. It's a little tiny camera that you plug into your phone. You got to use the app, but it's the distance of view and the clarity. It's way better than my TK Scout Fleur. That's only good for 100 yards. This one here, you can view nearly almost 1,000 yards with this thing, which is incredible. So for $430, it's well worth it. So on Amazon. So. The other thing is, too, if somebody wants to jump on and buy it, you got to be careful. Just like the Floor One, they make it for Android and they make it for iPhone. So it's a little cheaper for iPhone versus the Android. So, but if you consider getting it, be careful. Watch what you make sure you get the right device. But I've yet to really play with. Yeah.
I just want to say, Jonathan, you can find Daniel's channel in the description.
Yeah, it's very easy to find. Bigfoot Zone, ECBRO. Yeah.
Bigfoot Zone.
Yep. Get in the zone with Bigfoot Zone. But pretty much that's about it. I mean, as far as a lot of my podcast interviews, you can watch them if you want to watch them. If you want to just listen to them. I upload all my podcast interviews onto my online radio, ECBRO Bigfoot Radio. You can find it on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, all your favorite podcast platforms. It's all audio. So if you want to just listen to the audio, if you're driving and traveling, all the audio version uploads are on that platform. So yes, indeed. So but that's it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So thank you. Thank you for coming and
Oh, absolutely.
hanging out with me tonight. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. Conversation. I missed the good old times.
Oh, I know. We got to do this more often. Next time,
I know.
I'll have to schedule my next roundtable discussion when you're available. So,
Schedule and I'll try to jump on. Pretty much.
So,
but thank you very much for coming in, and everybody else, thank you guys for being here. Please, before you leave, hit that like button. If you would, leave me a message down there in the comment section and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing. Hit that subscribe button before you leave. Share my show around, and I'll see you guys in the next chat. Bye.